welcome to the latest episode of the Moviescramble podcast. In our last episode, we looked back on all the cinematic goodness that 2025 bestowed upon us. So it made sense that in this episode, we look forward to everything 2026 is promising us. So in order to do so, I am joined by Moviescramble's Man of the Year every year, John. John, how are you?
I'm good. I don't know if Simi would have something to say about that.
Well, the minute he gets his arse back in this podcast, he's welcome to join in the vote.
Put it this way, if it came down to a fist fight, I know who would win, and it wouldn't be me.
You're too refined. Simi would fight.
Well, yeah. Well, I may enjoy it. That's the thing. A bit lower, please. Yeah, I'm all right. I'm okay. Yes, it's that kind of strange time of the year, isn't it? Where
it's the 91st of January.
Yeah, you've been celebrating. I saw a nice wee sort of graphic, and it was like 2026, and it says we're nearly halfway through the year, and January took up half the graphic, and then there was like February was a wee bit more, and then it went April, May, June, July. It's really quick for the rest of the month. So yeah, it's fair enough. Yes, all good. How are you doing?
Yeah, really good. Just counting down the days till payday. My God, this is taking forever. But apart from that, yeah, and honestly, having looked through this list that we're going to chat about, it's making me super excited. It's going to be another good year of cinema. I'm convinced of it.
I hope so. Yeah. We definitely need a continuation, keeping it going nicely, or even better. It'd be good if it was even better than last year as well. So yes, aye. Definitely.
It makes it's always a good sign when you're doing your top 10 of the year and you're struggling to fit them all in, as opposed to struggling to find something to talk about.
Yeah. Something that's not a horror film.
Yeah.
Feature in my top 10, yes. Aye.
So, as I said, we're going to look at the films that are scheduled for release this year. We obviously aren't going to cover all of them because we'd be here for hours and we feel that's unfair on our dear listener. So we are going to talk about what the most notable or the most anticipated releases. I think that's fair to say. So we're going to kick off with superheroes and blockbusters. So quite a big list here as well. So we have Star Wars The Mandalorian, due for release on May 22nd, directed by Jon Favreau. Pedro Pascal obviously reprising his role there, and Grogu is back. So that's all you need to know. The Wayne's in it. That's as far as I'm concerned. I'll be seated. Supergirl is out in June of this year, directed by Craig Gillespie, with Millie Alcock in the titular role, and David Corenswet will also be reprising his role from last year's hit Superman. We have Masters of the Universe, directed by Travis Knight. I think that's expected in early June. That stars Idris Elba, Alison Brie, Jared Leto, James Purefoy, and Morena Baccarin. We have Spider-Man Brand New Day, set for release on July 31st. That is directed by Destin Daniel Cretton. Tom Holland is back in Lycra, and he'll be starring opposite Sadie Sink, Zendaya, John Bernthal, Mark Ruffalo, and Jacob Batalon. In October, we had the Street Fighter movie starring Jason Momoa, 50 Cent, David Dastmalchian, Cody Rhodes, Noah Centino, Andrew Koji, and Eric Andre. And of course, we have Avengers Doomsday, directed by the Russo brothers, due for a December 18 release. And that stars, everyone that's been in any Marvel film over the past, I could go through the cast list, but we'd be here all day. So those are the biggies in that kind of genre. What are your thoughts? What are you most looking forward to? What did you not know was coming out? Talk to me.
Obviously, the biggies, the Avengers one and the Supergirl one are probably the big sort of superhero films, and Spider-Man, I suppose. So again, this year doesn't seem to be a big MCU year. There's 2 films coming out, whereas we've had 3-4 films on some occasions. But obviously they're going through their whole rebuilding phase. I am looking forward to Doomsday. The only thing I this kind of slight reservation is what you actually highlighted there, the fact that there are so many people in this film. So in a film that's going to be sort of 2.5 hours long, are you going to have enough story in it while introducing? Is it going to be like a film where you're reintroducing characters at the same time as trying to get a story? Because obviously there's another one coming in a year's time as well, 2 years' time. So How's that going to work? Is it going to be like a story that works in its own right, or again, or is it something that's going to feed into something that's like a part one, really, of a two-part story? Same way the Mission Impossible films where, you know, parts 1 and 2, but obviously they changed the title. So yes, I am looking forward to it. I'm more looking forward to the Spider-Man film because that will be a continuation, but there will be a story there. You can tell that's going to be.
Well, the Punisher must be in it. John Bernthal's there.
Yeah, there is that, so that's good as well. So it's increasing the scope of the film as well, and obviously it'll be nice to sort of do a wee bit of Glasgow watching as well while we're watching the film, because obviously it was filming there earlier this year. So yes, in terms of superhero films, yes, there's a lot of stuff coming. Well, a reasonable amount of stuff, but not an overloading amount of stuff, because obviously the DC stuff. I think there's Clayface coming as well, which is a bit of an unknown quantity. Well, not unknown in terms of comic book, but for cinema audiences, it's going to be a bit of a stretch because we've not really mentioned Clayface an awful lot. So, and that's obviously going to be a big budget film, but will it have the same impact? And it's been regarded as being more of a horror film more than anything else, which would be interesting to see how they're going to sort of tackle that and sort of keep it within the same universe. If you like, I don't know. So, yeah, but there was one I don't know if you missed out on it deliberately or what, but Dune Part 3 is coming right.
That is in my sequels list.
Ah, okay, right, fair enough. Right, so we'll talk about that then. But yes, I mean, it's the usual fare with blockbusters. A lot of them will fail. That's the way of it.
I honestly don't see The Mandalorian doing that well, because let's be honest, as much as I adore and would die for that Baby Yoda, I'm not calling him Grogu, the TV show, the last series, completely jumped the shark with all of the sort of special guest performance, and it has become a bit lather, rinse, repeat in terms of you go here, you do a quest, you find the thing, you go to another location. So I'm not sure. I mean, Jon Favreau, the fact that it's directed by him, that gives me a little bit of confidence, but I'm not sure it's going to be the big blockbuster that they hope it's going to be. I don't know. I could be eating my words a few months down the line, of course.
Your wee Guatemalan husband must be quite happy about the fact that there's Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat.
He is so excited. Although, of course, his first comment was that David Dastmalchian's got big shoes to fill, because obviously he is playing the Raul Julia character from the original Street Fighter film. But I don't play these games, obviously, but I saw the trailer for that and thought, that looks like fun. Yeah. And to be honest with you, that's all I'm asking from my blockbusters. See what you said about Avengers Doomsday? You're so right. I don't know how they're going to do all of these characters justice, how they're all going to have enough screen time, how they're all going to feel fleshed out, because it almost feels like too much in a way. Whereas something like that that's just looks quite silly and quite fun, I'll sit and watch that, no problem.
Yeah, well, that's why they're there, you know. So I'm not going to take them terribly seriously. The films, the previous films that they've done with these, either animated or live action, have been a bit ropey. But watchable, that's the thing. They're always watchable. They're fun, you know. And the likes of the G.I. Joe films as well, which are the same. I kind of class all these. I know G.I. Joe is based on a toy rather than a game, but it is pretty much the same sort of thing, you know, with the martial arts and everything as well. But yes, I'll be interested to see how they do. Yeah. Based on the fact that there is obviously a massive fan base for these, and they are putting money into these films and not doing them like wholly on the cheap. So I think they may be the surprise sort of biggies.
I could see that as well. I didn't realise there was a Masters of the Universe film coming out. I don't understand how Jared Leto keeps getting work, quite frankly, given that his past few films have absolutely tanked. But it's there. It's coming out, whether we want it or not.
Yeah. We shall see what it's like, but I'm not holding out much hope for that one.
The next sort of category, I suppose you could call it that, is big name directors. Thought it was easy just to sort of lump these guys together because it is all guys. Yep. We have Park Chan-wook's No Other Choice, which releases in cinemas this month in January. It stars Lee Byung-hun. I watched a fantastic interview with him where he said that he hasn't worked with Park Chan-wook for 25 years because his nickname for him is Mr. Nag. Because Lee Byung-hun says he likes to ask lots of questions about his character and his motivation. And so Park Chan-wook has called him Mr. Nag. And apparently the Korean for that is Koshi Koshi, which sounds like a really cute nickname. Yeah. But no, he's Mr. Nag. So this is about a man who's been unemployed for several years. And so he devises a plan to secure a new job, which is eliminate the competition quite literally. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think that'll be good fun. We have Disclosure Day, which sees Steven Spielberg back on the big screen. That's due for release on June 12th. It stars Emily Blunt, Josh O'Connor, Coleman Domingo, Colin Firth and Wyatt Russell. It has been billed as a sci-fi thriller. We have The Odyssey, which is set for release on July 17th, and of course is directed by Christopher Nolan. Tickets went on sale like 5 years ago. For this, another abundant cast here. We have Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, Zendaya, Lupita Nyong'o, James Remar, Jon Bernthal, and Mia Goth, to name but a few. And we also have Digger, directed by Alejandro G. Inarritu, and that's set for release in October, starring Tom Cruise as the titular character as he embarks on a frantic mission to prove he is humanity's saviour before the disaster he has unleashed destroys everything. So that's some of the big names. What are your thoughts? What are you most looking forward to from that selection?
Obviously, the Park Chan-wook film. He is a fantastic director. I always like his films. So,
yes.
Yeah, and this one has been billed as sort of, it starts off kind of like in a comedy vein and then goes away on says and thinking, yeah, could quite get into that. Disclosure Day, we don't know very much about.
No.
It's from an original Steven Spielberg idea, and it may involve aliens amongst and stuff, but we do not know very much about it. I mean, he doesn't sort of go wrong too often, let's face it. The majority of his output is absolutely top-notch. So, yeah, I would definitely give it a chance. It really is. Obviously, a big film for the year is The Odyssey, as far as I'm concerned. That's the one that I am looking forward to most of all because, you know, in Nolan we trust. He could do whatever he wanted, so he chooses to do The Odyssey. And in one preview of it I read, he says, what's he going to do next? The Book of Genesis. So, you know.
Oh my God, he might actually. I'm laughing, but I'm like, no, this is Nolan written all over it.
No, he keeps talking about doing smaller things, ones that he can do within the space of about 2 years, start to finish. And he kind of did that with Dunkirk. That was a smaller film, but obviously it turned into slightly bigger. But it was only about an hour and a half long. You know, it wasn't like a long movie or anything like that. So obviously, I think The Odyssey is going to be a bit of a long one.
I feel like that's going to be like 4 hours.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see Matt Damon in this role as well, because I don't think we've seen him in something as classical as this. It's more sort of modern stuff. I know he was in that film, was it The Wall, the Chinese produced film where it was like Westerners come in to help fight against demons and
that's also on film for this week, I think.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty decent film, but that was like sort of set 16th, 17th century, and he was, I think he was meant to be English in it. Not entirely successfully English in it, but yeah, I'm interested to see this because obviously the information that's come out so far has been very minimal, and Nolan does not play his hand too early. So he doesn't need to, because the publicity machine works on its own as far as his films are concerned. Like I said, they put out tickets for the first day of the screening, and they sold out right away, and they were been sold in the black market at 4 and 5 times their value and all this sort of nonsense, the usual. Whereas
for
you could
cinema tickets, it's mad.
Yeah, you could go the next day.
I know.
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It really doesn't. But yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Digger, we know nothing about apart from.
I know. I'm intrigued. I've seen a couple of images, from that, and it's like Tom Cruise in silhouette, and it looks like he's wearing a fake beak. It doesn't quite look like his profile, but I'm assuming he's playing like a sort of workie. There's a hard hat, there's some boots, and he's obviously got a shovel, but that's all we've really seen.
Yeah, so that's kind of intriguing, because usually with Tom Cruise films, you know up front what you're going to be getting, because if it's like Top Gun or if it, but I suppose that's because it's all based around franchise, so you get an idea of what the story, what the film will be like. So this is something entirely different. So yes, the sort of big four like that, I'm definitely looking forward to all of them. Again, you can kind of class them in the same way. Well, not so much the bigger one, but the others you could probably put into the sort of blockbuster in one way or another. There is an awful lot of crossover, and I like how you've done this, sort of separating it out, because then we can talk about particular things. But this does highlight the fact that it's all blokes still. You know, you don't have a Catherine Bigelow film there. I know she had one last year, but that went directly to Netflix. You don't have and the other sort of female directors. Yes, they are popping up, and I'm sure we'll talk about at least two of them before we finish today, but they're not getting the gigs at that sort of level. And one of them is not surprising because of the way that what she's doing with film, but we can talk about that later. So yes, it's not great because it's not representative, but it is the way it is at the moment.
Yes, well, speaking of female directors, our next category is sequels. So, as we've said, 28 years later, The Bone Temple is in cinemas now, and that is directed by Nia DaCosta, stars Jack O'Connell, Ray Fiennes, and Alfie Williams, and this is obviously the second in a new trilogy. So, I've not heard anything about the third part of this new trilogy, but they have committed to 3 films, I believe, so there will be another.
There was chatter about it last week, saying that even before the second film was released, they were very pleased with the way that the film had gone and the initial reaction to it. So they were pretty much green lighting it. And Alex Garland is writing it at the moment, and Danny Boyle's going to come back and do the third film as well. So you'll understand more when you actually see the film. What the third one may entail, and I will not go anywhere near that at the moment.
Okay. We also have Scream 7, directed by Kevin Williamson, and that stars the likes of Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, Anna Camp, Mason Gooding, David Arquette, and Joel McHale. That is due for release at the end of February. We have Peaky Blinders, The Immortal Man, directed by Tom Harper and written by Stephen Knight. This is cheating a bit because it's due for release on Netflix on March 20th, but I felt this was such a big thing that it was worth talking about. It's set during World War II as Tommy returns to Birmingham. We have The Devil Wears Prada 2, directed by David Franco, releasing on May the 1st. Meryl Streep, Anne Hathaway, Emily Blunt, and Stanley Tucci are all reprising their roles from the first film. Ready or Not, Here I Come is due for release on April the 10th, where we have Grace, played by Samara Weaving, and her sister, who are now forced to outrun 4 rival families competing for a powerful throne. Winner takes all, which I'm buzzing for this. We have Simon McCoy's Mortal Kombat 2 out in May, starring Carl Urban as Johnny Cage. The fan favourite champions, now including Cage, are all pitted against one another in an ultimate battle. Aaron Sorkin follows up The Social Network with The Social Reckoning, due for release in October. It stars Jeremy Allen White, Wimby Musaku, Mikey Madison, and Betty Gilpin. But perhaps most importantly, Jeremy Strong will be playing Mark Zuckerberg, which I have no words for how excited I am. And of course, we have Dune Part 3, directed by Denis Villeneuve, and that is due for release in December. Returning cast includes Rebecca Ferguson, Timothée Chalamet, Anya Taylor-Joy, Florence Pugh, and Javier Bardem. It is allegedly the last film in the franchise, but we shall see. Yeah. So that's all of our sequels, which is quite a lot for this year.
Well, we do tend to a certain extent, we do tend to get a lot of sequels and continuations. Look at our top 10. Look at the top 10 box office.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
The only one wasn't a sequel was F1, and that was based on like racing cars. You know.
And that's just my jumper.
Yeah. Nice. So yes, it's actually a reasonably diverse list this year that you've mentioned as well. So you've not got, I suppose, the last couple of years we've had the Mission Impossible type films. And, Bad Boys and all these sort of ones. So there's yes, they are sequels. Obviously, Scream 7. There's been 6 of those, but they are kind of, see if you watched them all back to back, you see by like the third or fourth, you would be kind of going, Jesus, this is just the same thing over and over. And that's why
it's literally the same thing over and over again.
It's the repetition of it that kind of draws the audience in. It's a comfort factor. Well, as with all sequels, they want the same, but they want it different, but they don't want it that different. They want something else as well. Yeah.
That's why I'm scared about The Devil Wears Prada too, because that first film is so beloved and so quotable. Like, it almost feels too scary to touch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The two biggies for me on the list, obviously, are Dune Part 3 and Ready or Not, Here I Come.
Buzzing for that. Absolutely buzzing for that.
I'll be interested to see with Dune Part 3, though, because how it pans out, because obviously Anya Taylor-Joy and Florence Pugh must have had about 8 minutes screen time in the second film between them. Not even each. They were very small parts. So, and it was surprising that they were actually involved in that film. If it just stopped at the second one, you're kind of saying, why did they even do that film? Because it was so small, but obviously it was sold on the basis that, see, the third film, you're going to be a lot more involved in it, because there's a bit of a time jump in this one. And obviously, at the end of the second film, Florence Pugh became a very, very important character in it indeed. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I really like these films. They're just cracking. They're so well made and, epic epicness.
Yeah, so score is beautiful.
Yeah. It all works really, really well, and the way that the stories kind of flow into each other and everything as well. But yeah, Ready or Not 2 is the kind of the standout, because I was wondering how they were going to do this, but the premise actually sounds quite intriguing.
Yes, I am very excited for that as well. And also, I didn't realise that the social reckoning was going to be a thing. So I will absolutely, we talked obviously about Jeremy Strong in The Apprentice, how good he is, like how amazing is he going to be as Mark Zuckerberg. Like, I've already booked, I just want to be seated and watching that right now. Don't want to wait till October.
Yep, and it's written and directed by Aaron Sorkin.
Yes.
Yeah, that should be interesting to see. He is developing as a director. He's always been a very good writer, but his directing stuff, he's been improving as he's been going along. So, yeah, it should be good.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see sort of how far into like current times it takes. This, because obviously that the social network was set at, like, with the origins of Facebook, but it'll be interesting to see how contemporary this follow-up is going to be. But yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to that. So next we have musicals / romance / comedies kind of thing. So we have People We Meet on Vacation, based on the Emily Bader book, is now on Netflix, starring Bader herself. It also stars Tom Blythe, Lucian LaViscount, Jamila Jamil, Lucas Gage, Molly Shannon, and Alan Ruck. I know that on Book Talk, certainly this was a very popular book, so I expect the adaptation will probably do well for the platform. We have Wuthering Heights, directed by Emerald Fennell, with a score from Charlie XCX. That comes out on Valentine's Day. It stars Jacob Elordi and Margot Robbie, and is set to be a radical reimagining of the classic novel. Now, I have heard a theory, this film isn't even out yet, and I've heard a theory that this is like Margot Robbie's character imagines herself as Kathy, and it's not actually an adaptation of the book, it's her interpretation of what the story is. And that's why apparently the title Wuthering Heights is in inverted commas on the poster. But that, of course, could be a crock of shit just from Reddit. So yes. We also have The Drama, directed by Christopher Bordley. That is due for release on April 3rd, and that stars Zendaya. She is booked and busy this year, and Robert Pattinson. It's about a newly engaged couple whose wedding prep goes off the rails, and I'm sure you've seen they've already started their pre-publicity by dropping engagement notices in big American newspapers and things like that. So I think that'll be quite interesting. I'm quite looking forward to that. What about yourself? There's not a lot. I mean, I took this list sort of roughly off like IMDb and Empire and stuff like that. There wasn't a lot in this kind of category. I feel like, I don't know if the rom-com is kind of dead on its feet at the moment. I feel like we're focusing on sort of bigger, more meatier subjects, I feel.
It seems to be the type of film that they do more on streaming platforms. It's directly to them rather, and that's not to put them down in any way. There's been some decent sort of, and it's mid-budget and everything, so it's been some sort of decent types of films that fall under these sort of categories, but they don't tend to get, they're just announced as in production, and then like maybe a month or two before they actually drop, then it actually hits. So I am particularly interested in the drama. I think that's going to be a good one because it's coming from the director of Dream Scenario, Christopher Borgley.
I love that film.
Yeah. So you can imagine that it's not going to be a straightforward romantic drama comedy thing. So, you know, it's going to be something quite interesting in that type of arena. And I mean, look at the stars in it. Robert Pattinson has been really stretching himself over the last couple of years. Look at Mickey 17, the way that he approached the various roles in that. So yeah, he's doing some really, really good stuff. And obviously he's still having his time with sort of major blockbusters and stuff like that with the Batman and obviously Tenet as well. So yeah, it'd be interesting. It really will. Now, I didn't know this about Wuthering Heights, that it was in inverted commas at all.
I noticed that on the poster and I didn't know why, which is why I fell down a rabbit hole. And that's where that theory has come from, is that people think that it's Margot Robbie imagining herself as Kathy. Or her character, because also the costume is not, I don't know if you've seen, they've released a whole bunch of photos about the costumes this week, and they're not like classic period. They're a mix of like leather and tulle and like all and different styles that would just not be traditional to a straightforward adaptation of the novel. So I don't know.
So, and you think that might inform the fact that it's Jacob Elordi, because the character, if she's imagining this and she's racist, then she would imagine
a white man. She would,
a white Heathcliff. Yeah, that would explain it. So yeah, when actually people actually see it, they'll go, that's why. Okay, right, fair enough.
Makes sense. Yes, we'll let you off with your racist casting. Sure. Yeah, I don't know. I'm really on the fence about it. I mean, it's a shame because I loved Promising Young Women. But then Saltburn was like, don't try and make me feel sorry for the mega rich. So I feel like that just kind of left a sour taste. So I'm really on the fence about this adaptation as well.
Well, I don't know. Are you going to mention Project Hail Mary at some point, or would this fall under the?
That's in my war, western, disaster, crime, and space category.
Jesus Christ, that's a massive category. It's just obviously because it could possibly fall under this as well. Yes. So yeah. Oh no, perfectly. We do have Fokker-in-Law as well under the comedy character. Comedy.
Do we?
Yes.
I didn't realise that was this year. Right.
Yeah, it's November, and it's Owen Wilson, Terry Polo, Ben Stiller, and Ariana Grande is in this one as well. We don't know if there's going to be his parents in it, who was Barbara Streisand and
Dustin Hoffman.
There's no word on whether they're in it or not, or what the story is actually going to be like, or if it's going to be any good. Because so we shall see. But yes, that's a sort of a comedy one that's coming towards the end of the year as well. So
that's quite good.
Yeah.
Our next category I've called horror thriller. So we have Psycho Killer, due for release in February, directed by Gavin Polone, and that stars Malcolm McDowell and Barbarian's Georgina Campbell. It centres around a police officer tracking a killer after her husband becomes one of his victims. We also have The Bride from Maggie Gyllenhaal, releasing on March 6th. It stars Jessie Buckley and Christian Bale in another radical reimagining, this time of The Bride of Frankenstein. We have Undertone from writer-director Ian Tewson, due for release on March 13th. It's about a podcast host who uncovers spooky recordings from tapes she has been sent. Should we be worried, John? I don't know. And then we have They Will Kill You, releasing on March 27, directed by Kirill Sokolov. It's about a woman who takes a job as a housekeeper in a New York City high-rise, unaware of the building's history of disappearances. It stars Zazie Beetz and Patricia Arquette. So that's just a small little section of horrors that are coming out, but I picked the kind of biggies that I thought looked the most interesting. I mean, all of these appeal to me Quite honestly, I will happily sit. The podcast one in particular, I saw it's an A24 film. I saw the trailer for it, and already I was like, oh, this is going to have to be a daytime watch. I'll not be able to do this at night.
The thing with horror films especially is that we don't really get, unless it's from a named director, we don't tend to get the same publicity like well in advance, up to like 8-9 months in advance for them.
Which is why these are all quite early doors in 2026, these ones, you know? Yeah,
because it could turn out that the Tom Cruise film turns out to be a horror film. I doubt it, but we just don't know, you know? And I mean, if you think back to 2025, Weapons was one of the bigger ones as far as I was concerned, and I knew nothing about that film until I saw like the trailer for it. It was just all done. It was just getting done, and it was just working away in the background, and until they were able to, you know, start publicizing it, and it was only then. So it wasn't really in anybody's radar, which was quite interesting. But yeah, I think that's probably the big one for me, and this is the category that I'm most interested in, because I seem to get most pleasure out of these films. They're the ones that usually they're very tightly made films, and they don't spend an awful lot of time like messing you about or anything. You just kind of get to the point and go on with it, and I really like that. You know, like a sort of a 90-minute quick shock. And if you end up going to the toilet on yourself because you're that scared, it's a bonus. So yeah. I am interested, obviously, in The Bride as well, partly because there's an exclamation mark at the end of it. It's not just The Bride, it's The Bride. So that could inform what the type of film is. It may not be entirely serious. So that I really do want to see that, and it obviously is a modern take on it. And again, it's Jessie Buckley again and Christian Bale as well. So she's having quite the year so far, and The Bride's coming out in March. So yeah, it should be interesting to see how they take this property that's been done so many times before, and I don't want to say that. I don't want to say inject new life into it, but I have to.
No, but you do. It's interesting. I feel vaguely conflicted about this, only because the original, obviously, interpretation of The Bride of Frankenstein by Elsa Lanchester, like, is so dear to me, and her performance, which obviously she doesn't speak, is crucial to that whole film. Like, she rejects, you know, her purpose, which is to be a mate. It's very feminist, actually, which is, you know, interesting for a 1930s film. So the idea of this looking like a sort of Bonnie and Clyde type of situation, for me, misses the whole point of the character. However, I am willing to watch and happily have my mind changed, you know?
Yep. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is the beauty of these things. We don't know an awful lot about some of these films, but we know enough to be excited about them. And that's what it's all about, really, as far as I'm concerned. You know, watching movies. I want to be excited. I want to look forward to stuff, as well as having the pleasure of rewatching something that I really like, or something that is really bad that I want to watch again. So,
I don't think you'll be rushing back to what was your sequel that you watched again on Netflix? I've forgotten the name of it already.
Old Girl 2, yeah.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah.
The next category is very diverse. As I've said, it's war, western, disaster, crime, and space, because I panicked and I didn't know how to fit these three films into something that we could talk about. So we have Dead Man's Wire, which is Gus Van Sant's latest film in cinemas on January 16th, I believe, starring Bill Skarsgård, Dacre Montgomery, Coleman Domingo, who's also booked and busy, and Al Pacino. Project Hail Mary releases March 20th, directed by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. It is a dark comedy about an astronaut sent to space to save Earth, and it stars Ryan Gosling and Sandra Hüller, which makes me excited. And we have The Death of Robin Hood, which is an A24 film that doesn't have a release date as yet, but has already floated a few sort of teaser images and clips on social media. It stars Hugh Jackman as the titular outlaw, alongside Jodie Comer, Bill Skarsgård again, and Murray Bartlett. So that's a bit of a motley crew. But I thought these will probably do quite well and be quite big, so I thought they were worth talking about.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the standout from that list is Project Hail Mary. I think that's going to be probably better than most of the films are actually coming out this year. Well, maybe, I don't know. You can't really tell because we're not really given that much information about it. So does it work? Will it work in that way, or it is a bit weird that we spend so much time on it to be told later on, no, it's not. But I mean, in the likes of Lord and Miller, you kind of trust them for what they've done previously, obviously with the Spider-Verse stuff. And obviously getting kicked off of a Star Wars film, getting kicked off Solo and all that. And even all the way back to, I think it was Community, the TV show. Just the ideas that they had and all that, it works really, really well. And Ryan Gosling, over the last couple of years, has kind of been stretching himself, getting into more sort of comedic roles and things like that. Obviously, he was Ken in Barbie.
Oh, that was hysterical.
And then obviously the film with Emily Blunt after that, the stuntman, the Fall Guy.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't do well, but he was good in that film. The way that he played this rather silly stuntman character. I know the film didn't do all that well, but I like the idea of this film, and obviously it comes from the same writer as The Martian as well. Andy Weir wrote both books. I'm not sure if he is actually involved in the screenwriting or anything like that, but so it should be a decent story. Again, I've not read the story, but I mean, just the premise of it, high concept sci-fi mystery. Wakes up in a space station and doesn't know why he's there. Yep. Sign me up. Thank you very much. Yeah. I've only got 2 months to wait for it, so yeah.
Yeah. I am looking forward to Dead Man's Wire as well. I think that's going to be quite good from what I've seen in the trailers anyway. It certainly looked kind of like Dog Day Afternoon type of vibe to it. So looking forward to that. The Death of Robin Hood has sort of appeared out of nowhere. I kept seeing clips of it on Instagram and I thought, I wonder when that's out. It doesn't obviously have a release date, but quite a big cast. So
I
think that might do well.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman's doing quite a lot of stuff as well. Obviously, he was in Song Song Blue just a couple of weeks ago, which is actually a fairly decent film. That's kind of your nice.
It is getting quite good reviews.
Drama, and he's really good in it because obviously he comes from a musical background, so he's good at singing and playing a guitar at the same time, and it looks very natural because he obviously does it. So so he's one of these actors who's stretching himself a wee bit, doing things that are kind of outside of his comfort zone as well. And you never know, there may be a reintroduction to the MCU coming as well if they can't find a younger Wolverine. Probably not, but he said himself that
he said he's hung up his claws.
It's a bit beyond him now, basically because of the time and effort that it takes to prepare for a role like that, and the toll that it takes in your body. Because there's all sorts of stories of not drinking any water for a day before in order to define your muscles and everything before.
And also Tom Hardy, was it him that came out and said that he has actually shrunk his discs because he's put on so much bulk on his frame? His discs have rubbed together and he's essentially been made shorter because he's put on, he's not tall to begin with, but because he's put so much bulk on his frame, he's basically ruined his spine. I mean, that surely
as well,
is worth that. I mean, that's what I must admit I do like about the David Corenswet Superman, and that he is obviously muscly and toned, but he's not veins are popping because you've not drank water for 2 days or something. It's a more normal look to it.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing about the Superman character. He doesn't need to be totally buff and everything because he's invincible. So it doesn't matter if he's got big muscles because...
give you a weed.
There's hope for me yet.
You go to the gym. You told me you go to the gym from Love Lies Bleeding. So I know you work out. It's just the Ed Harris hair extensions I'm waiting on.
Oh my God. Again, there's still time for that nonsense as well. I think Leslie would arrange for me to have an accident if I started going down that route.
Setting tripwires up round your house.
I don't know what happened. We were just walking and suddenly he fell out into the road. People said he could push, but I can't see it myself.
I love it. I love it. Then they'd cut your hair extensions for your funeral. It'd be so good.
Yeah.
The last category that I looked at was sort of kids, family, animation, that kind of vibe. Yeah. So we have the Super Mario Galaxy movie, which is due for release in April, and that is directed by Aaron Horvath and Michael Jelenic. It has the voice talents of Benny Safdie, Jack Black, Anya Taylor-Joy, Brie Larson, Keegan-Michael Key, Charlie Day, and Chris Pratt, whose name I can't say without laughing because of that woman on the internet who insists on calling him Crisp Rat. So sorry, I'll calm myself down to a riot. We also have Toy Story 5 releasing on June 19th. That is directed by McKenna Harris and Andrew Stanton. Woody, Buzz and the gang are back, voiced by all the usual suspects. In this instance, playtime is challenged by the arrival of electronic devices. And we also have live-action Moana, directed by Thomas Kail. That is due for release in July. It stars Dwayne Johnson, Catherine Lagaya, Rena Owen, and John Tui. So Disney are back at it with the live actions and the sequels this year. So I know that we probably don't go and see a lot of these types of films, but is there anything there that you would maybe consider having a look at?
Probably the Super Mario film over the other two. Yeah, because I know it's based on a game and everything, but the first film was fun. It was slight but fun. And I mean, it took all the money, really, didn't it?
It really did. It was a big surprise hit, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, by far it's the biggest movie based on the game or game franchise.
You mean the Bob Hoskins one didn't do it for you?
No. Well, again, it was slight and it was fun, but it didn't light the box office at all. It was him and John Leguizamo, wasn't it? They were. Yeah. So no, I mean, there's been a bad sort of rap with films based on games. They just tend not to work, or they deviate so far away from them. So again, that's the likes of Street Fighter is, could be classed in that sort of realm as well. But no, I think it'll be fine. It's interesting that it's earlier in the year compared with the other two films. The Moana film, if it's anything like Lilo and Stitch,
will do.
All the people will have enough money so they can spend all that again on the Moana film. And I think Dwayne Johnson's in this one as well, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Aye. So, yeah, that's the problem with these films is they are rubbish, but they are. And I say rubbish because they're basically just remakes. They're all sometimes shot-for-shot remakes of the animated films, and they're so successful that Disney are just keep saying, "Yeah, let's do another one. Let's go. Let's have some more. What else have we got in the cupboard?" So and I know they've done some of the big hitters, and they're now doing ones that are more recent. And by more recent, I mean like from the 80s and the 90s. Stuff like that, but they're not going to stop anytime soon. And Toy Story 5 just sounds like it's cynical. It's cynical as fuck. It really is. It's a trilogy. It's a trilogy in 5 parts.
Yeah,
this is, and
I mean, part of me thinks the premise, like, that's kind of sounds interesting. Because I know a lot of parents who are like, don't give kids iPads. Give them wooden toys to play with and stuff like that. So I know that like that is a thing, but you're ultimately doing this to sell more merch. So
yeah.
I mean,
it's because they have gone through a period where they've been bringing out original content and it's not been doing well. Elio came out last year, didn't crack like the top 15. I don't think. It performed very poorly. So, and I know these things have a second life on Disney Plus, so they never lose money. It's all content that's going to add there, and people are accessing it and maintaining their subscription. So yes, but they like having this big chunk of profit as well with these things, and they'll get it with all of these 3. That's the thing. But it's not great, and you can tell sometimes with these kind of films because kids can lose interest in it because even kids will discern that this isn't particularly good. They have more sort of intelligence that way than sometimes people give kids credit for, because they think kids just watch everything, but they won't. That's big. I mean, a case and example of my own was we had rented Paul Blart Mall Cop. Christ. And I thought that will be, the kids will like that. I'll hate it. Both Ross and Julie within about 10 minutes were saying this is really boring, and they were quite young at the time. Yeah.
Please, Father, can we watch the Battle of Algiers instead? Is that what he said?
Please just switch it off, Dad. Can we have a conversation? Yes. Yeah. So that's the kind of thing. But yeah, these are going to make all of the money.
Oh, unfortunately, they are, and that's what I looked through this list. As I say, this isn't conclusive. This is just what I picked off of IMDb that I thought were the kind of big hitters. But there's films in there that you just think, oh, that really deserves to make money. I hope that does well. And unfortunately, it probably won't, because there will be people, more willing to put their hand in their pocket for likes of a live action Moana or a Toy Story 5. And that does make me quite sad.
Yes, yeah. And it's using the fact that these films come out during the holiday periods, and parents take their kids to the cinema, and they want to go and see something, because it's like 2.5, 3 hours in a dark room, and especially in like places in Scotland where it's probably going to be Pishenbury and all.
I was going to say inevitably raining outside. Yeah.
So yes, they're banking on the fact that there's name recognition.
Yeah,
and it makes
money on your nostalgia, John.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes, it really is. My barber, who has 2 small kids, went to see Zootopia 2 over Christmas, and it was like a treat thing. So they got them sweets and stuff from the concessionary stand and everything at the cinema, and you get like a hot dog and stuff like that. And it was just shy of £100 for 2 adults and 2 kids.
Fuck off.
I know.
For the cinema? That's obscene. Now, do you know what? There'll be folk that turn around and argue and go, bring your own sweeties, bring your own juice. But see if it's like, as you say, it's like a treat like that.
Yeah.
And you want to just get a wee popcorn, do this. £100. Now, see if you said that was the theatre, I'd have been like, yeah, that makes sense. The theatre's expensive. Not the bloody cinema.
I know. Crazy, isn't it?
And that's why, though, people will wait, for example, for something to come on a streamer, unless it is a big, like a live action Moana, because they don't want to pay £100 for a family day out. That's, that's the cinema. They don't want to pay that. And this is why, to a certain extent, we do have the films that we have coming out, because, Disney aren't going to take a risk on new material if it's not going to perform well. Whereas, everyone loves Toy Story, so let's just fling another one of those out, because we know we'll get bums on seats. And that is the sad state of affairs of cinema, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, because the craft that's involved in these films is obviously quite...
that's not to denigrate these films.
Oh, no, we're not doing that at all, but it's the cynical ploy of just recycling and reusing all the time, and basing things, like I say, on name recognition. And for people who only go occasionally to the cinema, then that's fine. But with the likes of you and I, and a lot of people we know, we go on a regular basis, and it just, your heart sinks when you go and you see what's actually there, and you're going, well, there's actually not really very much I want to see. And then if you see something, you think about it next week, you're going, well, I saw the one I wanted to see last week.
Yeah.
So yes, it's not great. It really isn't.
However, kids and family aside, there are, a lot of what looks like exciting. Again, it's horror that's propping us up with new premise, new talent, new stories, that sort of thing. There's not really that many sequels, etc., coming out there. But even the sequels and sort of big name directors and blockbusters that are coming out this year, there's not a lot that's setting the heather on fire for me personally. It is the sort of smaller categories that I'm looking to go, actually, that looks really exciting. I mean, of course, I'll be seated for likes of, the Odyssey, and I'll no doubt get taken along to Street Fighter. But it's the kind of smaller ones that it's Digger that I'm curious about. It's, Ready or Not. It's Undertone, spooky podcast drama, definitely feels like that was made for us.
Yeah, it's interesting that people are regarding Digger as a smaller film when it's $125 million budget, but it's regarded as a smaller film. Yeah, it is, yeah.
Because although it's a big name director and a big name star, for some reason it's veering towards the indie category, which I think is because it's not, well, we don't know, it's not Tom Cruise running, because it does say it's to save the world, but I think it's because it's not a Mission Impossible, it's not a Top Gun, so it's like, oh my god, Tom Cruise does indie. You're right though, it's not really. So it's still a very expensive film. So is there anything in particular that you think, just based on description alone or how excited you are, you think might be top 10 material, or something that you hope, will be a big hit this year? What are you sort of most looking forward to?
It's kind of hope more than expectation. There is the Jesse Eisenberg musical comedy.
Yes, I didn't put that in because it's not got a name, it's not got a release date, I've got no information whatsoever.
Yeah, just the premise of it. Julianne Moore is a housewife who takes acting classes, gets into it, and then goes full method and takes a job as a superintendent of an apartment building so she can better realise her performance. And you're thinking, yeah, sounds interesting.
That sounds amazing,
it could be really big, and it could be like sort of comedy breakout for a sort of an older audience, or it may not do all that well at all. There's also one that, again, it may not be coming out this year, but it's the Adventures of Cliff Booth, I should say, not Clint Booth, Cliff Booth. The character from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the David Fincher take on that. So that is scheduled for this year, but not given a proper time or date. So that could be really interesting. It could be big, given the fact that it's coming off the back of Brad Pitt in F1. Yeah. And it's Brad Pitt in sort of an action, and it's like action Tarantino and Brad Pitt. Yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty good going, to be perfectly honest. And obviously, there's a new Narnia film coming out as well.
Oh, I totally missed that one off the list. Apologies. When is that due out?
No. That is, I think it's due out towards the latter half of the year, and it's I think it's a Netflix thing because they've bought the rights to the C.S. Lewis books. But interesting, it's Greta Gerwig that's directing it, and this is her follow-up to Barbie. This is what she's doing next. She's getting involved in this sort of world, so I think it could be pretty decent. You're talking about Carey Mulligan and Daniel Craig in the cast as well, so that could, I think that could be like a really big film and actually be involved in sort of like awards contention for sort of this time next year. It's the kind of thing that it could do the business, but obviously if it's on Netflix, then
that's what I was going to say. Is it a theatre release or is it a Netflix release or is it both?
I think it might get a theatre release in order to qualify for everything, and then it'll go into the likes of Netflix, but you just can't tell. A contentious one that may be like top 5 of the year, or it may do really badly, is the Michael Jackson film.
Oh, the biopic of that. Yeah, I saw that and made a conscious decision not to include it because I'm like, that in itself, I'm like, I feel this is going to be a hagiography of someone who is
definitely, yeah.
An extremely polarizing figure. But interestingly enough, we were talking about this in work the other day, and it's like certain people, obviously, because we were talking about the Diddy documentary, and obviously you don't play his music anymore on the radio, same with R. Kelly. Michael Jackson's music is still played like really widely on the radio, despite all of the allegations that have followed him around for years.
True, but there are more allegations coming out now with the fact that he's pictured in all the Epstein files as well. He's been pictured like on the private jet with Bill Clinton going to Epstein's Island and things like that. And you're saying, well, he wasn't just he wasn't going there to get a suntan or anything, because you can see him in the pictures and he's like caked in white makeup and everything like that. So he is.
Also, he wasn't interested in girls, allegedly.
Well, I'm sure Jeffrey would have helped him out there, in some way, because that's the Peter Mandelson defence as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. And he was still there, so yeah,
Yes, I believe
know
it's
they
one
can
of
get
Michael
away with that.
Jackson's nephews or cousins or something that is
It
playing
is, yes.
him in the film. But yeah, I kind of didn't touch it with a barge pole because I thought, I feel like this is just going to be so controversial. Now, don't get me wrong, you'll have all the diehard fans and people who just love his music going to see it, but given that his family is directly involved, it's not going to be honest or fair, is it? So it kind of re-traumatizes the people that have come forward and said, actually, he abused me.
It's stopping before the sort of controversies kick in and all that as well. And in the same way that the stage show did the same thing, it stopped before it reached the kind of bits where they don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Really. So, yeah, aye. Last two for me, obviously, there's a Hunger Games film coming as well. It's coming in November.
Is this the prequel?
Yes, the second prequel. It's the Haymitch Abernathy character who was the mentor for Katniss. So it's his story as a younger man as well, which again, the last one did reasonably well. The last sort of prequel did reasonably well. So this could, kind of do that. Maybe you never know. It could be a big film or it could be a rubbish film. You just can't really tell with these things because is there still the appetite for these type of movies?
I know. That's what I was wondering. Is the audience still there for that type? I mean, presumably they've invested in a second one because the first one must have made enough money, but yeah, it's a curious one.
And the last one is Jumanji 3. That's coming out in December.
Oh, wow. I take it that's the Jack Black continuation, yeah.
Yeah, Jack Black, The Rock, Karen Gillan, and Kevin Hart, all back. Yeah. So the original cast. And those films are actually pretty decent. I really liked the first two films. Yeah, they're fun. That's the thing. They're light, they're fun, they're not going to tax you in any way. They're like adventure films. And they do it in slightly different ways in both films. Basically, you are sucked into this. It's like an island, I think, in a game, and you are a character, and you take on the character. In the second film, the machine that introduced them all or brought them into this world again screwed up and put them into different characters. So it wasn't the same person. So the way that they were, it gave the actors a chance to do something different with the characters because they weren't the same person underneath it, which was quite interesting. It was a good way of doing it and all that, and it played against sort of types with these kind of things as well, which was good. What they do with the third one, not quite sure. They haven't really said. It's all been kind of very quiet, probably because they'll probably just be filming it, but it'll be interesting because obviously Dwayne Johnson's had his shot at award glory and serious acting and stuff, and now he's going back to the likes of this as well. And obviously his two big films of the year are this and Moana. So so whether he's still going to be pursuing the actorly route, maybe he'll learn to cry for one of these films.
I was going to say if he can greet, he'll be fine. Yeah, I think, you know what? And I'm not saying this is going to sound so derogatory, and I'm sure he'll be crying into his millions, but like he's made a really good, profitable career out of what he's good at, and I totally understand the desire to do something different because even the likes of Tom Cruise is trying to do something different. He's even said himself he would like to do a musical and things like that as well because he takes dance lessons, all that sort of thing. But for Dwayne Johnson, just like, I'm not saying stay in your lane, but just like know that you know what you're good at, and you actually don't need to prove to anyone that you can do the dramatic stuff. I get that build wise he was the perfect person for the Smashing Machine. Performance wise was so lacking. It was, and as you said in the pod, next to someone like Emily Blunt, like it just underlines the lack. Whereas when you've got the likes of Jumanji and Moana, like, dude, you're going to be okay financially. You don't have to worry about anything. Stick to those types of films.
Yeah, it's partly ego and partly legacy, isn't it?
Of course,
to say that they've pushed themselves and they've tried, which is noble. But when you're pushing yourself and you're doing these type of roles, and then what happens is it gets involved in like award chatter and things, and you say, well, is that really what you were going for here? Is this how you validate, being a serious actor and pushing yourself in the form of getting a wee bauble to say that you did better than the other people. You did better than the other people that were doing exactly the same thing.
That's everyone's Oscar hopes diminished for the rest of their lives. A wee bauble. I mean, it's a bit like, in a way, do you remember when women had to be ugly to get Oscars? You had to like shave your eyebrows and lose your teeth and put on loads of weight, and it was like, now you get an Oscar because you're worthy of it. Whereas it does
worthy of being mentally ill.
Whereas the Smashing Machine did feel like, look at me, I'm a serious actor, I should probably get something for this, as opposed to just doing it because you actually, I do get that.
Yeah. So what about yourself? Was there anything outside of the categories that you had thought of that may be a wee bit of a surprise?
No, I mean, I sat for quite a while and looked through all of this. Again, as I say, I think it's horror that I'm quite excited about, because I feel like they're doing something a bit different with some of the stories. There's several that I'm on the fence over. I didn't know that The Social Network was getting a sequel, so actually that I'm quite looking forward to as well. But as I say, there's a lot that I'm just really skeptical about. The biggest one being The Devil Wears Prada 2. I'm like, there's so much nostalgia wrapped up in that first film. Like, and I'm quite sure that the original cast wouldn't be involved if they didn't think it was going to be a good enough story or a big enough hit. But yeah, you just you never know. I feel like I'm probably going to come out at the end of this year and be like, Film of the Year, Street Fighter.
Well, I've just found a film that sounds as if it could be Film of the Year. It's called The Sheep Detectives. Have you heard of this?
Okay.
I've only just looked this up.
No.
Here's the sort of logline for it. Hugh Jackman stars in this comedy as a shepherd who reads his sheep murder mystery stories every night before bed. Little does he know that once the lights are out, the sheep discuss the mysteries among themselves.
Is this animated or real life?
It looks as if it's real life.
So talking sheep.
Talking sheep, yeah. They talk amongst Hugh Jackman, Emma Thompson, Nicholas Galzatine, Nicholas Braun, the tall guy from Succession. So yeah, I'm going to watch this trailer after we finish this.
Me too. Maybe this is the murder mystery detective thriller period drama that I never knew I needed. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that a children's film or an adult film?
It doesn't say. I would imagine it wouldn't be a children's film if it was.
Oh no, I suppose if it's murder mystery, yeah. Because in my head, I'm thinking of Shaun the Sheep, but it's obviously not that.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. I have no idea about that. That's.
Okay, most batshit film. That might be a category for when we do our end of year roundup. Batshit plot.
It's live action.
Wow.
And the sheep look as if the sheep are sort of CG generated. But yes, it is. Oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's
yes. I'm going to watch them. I've just had a wee look at it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Most batshit plot for 2026. The Sheep Detectives.
It could be massive.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, Hugh Jackman is a shepherd. I'm sure there'll be some housewives across the globe thinking, yeah, that sounds like a dream I've had before. Oh my goodness. So that is our roundup of what's coming in 2026. As I said, it's not conclusive. There's lots more films coming out across the year that we just simply haven't had time to discuss, or they're simply not had information on the internet as yet. However, as we've said, Sheep Detectives in contention for Film of the Year quite strongly. So let us know what you're looking forward to. If there's any of the films that we've talked about today that you'd love to see us cover, do let us know. You can find us on all of the usual social channels, including Blue Sky, Instagram, the platform formerly known as Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, etc. And of course, we would love if you could jump on and give us a review of the podcast on the platform of your choice. 5 stars only. We're not interested in anything less than 4.5. That would be great. And you can email us podcast@moviescramble.co.uk. But until the next episode, it is goodbye from me. Bye.
Bye.